The last portion of Chapter 7, Transforming Energy. Systems change as energy flows and changes from one part of the system to another. Now, you have to think of a system. System is talking about an entire set of things. So like within the classroom, this is a system. You have the walls, you have the floor, you have the desks, the chairs. It's all part of the system. Depending on your perspective of where you're at, in the hallway, or if you're outside in the parking lot, or if you're at your house, the system that is involved is going to change. Okay. Each change transfers energy or transforms energy from one form to another. Down below here we have chemical energy, and you have your molecules, methane and oxygen. When they combine, they have a chemical reaction, and it changes into water and carbon dioxide, and you get energy as a result from the bonds breaking. That energy is released as heat energy, and that heat energy is given off in the form of the flame that is burned. All energy is changed from one form to another. It's never lost or destroyed. It can be wasted into another form, because you also see light energy here too, because you can see the flame. So not all of it is converted into heat, but it is all converted into one form to another. Okay. So you have heat and light here, which then the heat energy is used to make hot steam from the water. Then that steam goes and turns the turbine, and then as the turbine turns, that is your mechanical energy. Then that mechanical energy creates the current that forms electrical energy, which is then sent to your house and through the plug into the light, and you get electrical energy turned into light energy. There's a constant changing of energy going through a system. Energy flow. We can predict how energy will flow. How can we do this? We always know that it goes from high to low. So you have high potential energy and low kinetic energy. So as the roller coaster goes down the coaster, your potential energy goes down, but your kinetic energy goes up. But some of that energy is turned into heat from the friction from the car on the track. It's still a form of energy, heat. It's just a different type, not all converted into mechanical energy, which is causing the movement of the car. So once you get down to the bottom, you go back to lower kinetic energy, but then what happens? Your potential energy goes back up again. So they move from higher to lower energy. And it's a cycle. The idea that energy transforms from one form to another without a change in the total amount, and this is the key thing here, and that's what I was saying. It's never wasted or destroyed, or lost or destroyed. It's called the law of conservation of energy. The law of energy conservation says that the total energy before the change equals the total energy afterwards, even if it's in a different form. So you can, when your body breaks down food, you are using energy, but not all of your energy is used for moving your body. Some of it is wasted as when you're talking, it turns into sound energy. Your body has to maintain a temperature inside, so some of it is turned into heat energy. But it's the same amount of energy all the time. It's just being transformed into different forms within the system. When you throw a ball in the air, the energy transforms from kinetic to potential and then back to kinetic. Like I said, you start from one and then it goes to the other. So it's a cycle. So you have all potential energy here at the top. Here it's half potential energy and half kinetic energy. It's the same thing over here because it's in the same spot. But you start with potential energy here, 100%, until it gets in action, and then you start converting it into kinetic energy, then back to potential energy. Because for a very, very brief moment, this ball right here at the top, before it goes back down, it pauses. So then it goes back down and turns back into the mostly kinetic energy until once it hits the ground again, and it's on the ground, it turns into potential energy again. People concerned about running out of energy really means running out of certain types of energy that are easy to transform. Fossil fuels and natural gas are cheaply converted to mechanical and electrical energy. We still have the same amount of energy from those fossil fuels. It's just been converted into something else that isn't usable for the same thing again. So this mechanical and electrical energy is now in a different form that was once in the form of the fossil fuels. So the fossil fuels is basically stored energy until it's burned and converted into mechanical and electrical energy. It took millions of years to accumulate these fuels because they are derived from decaying ancient plants that obtained their energy originally from the sun when they were alive. Because it took a long time for these plants to grow, decay, and become oil and gas, fossil fuels are a limited resource. We know these as non-renewable. Now, this doesn't mean once they're used, they can't be used again. That is not what renewable means. If a source is renewable, like the sun, it means that it replaces the energy as quickly as it's used. Whereas non-renewable means that we use it faster than what it's made. And it's difficult because the fossil fuels we use, we say it took millions of years. So we are using the fuels from dead and decaying things that are millions of years old. So by the time that we have to wait for the things that died today to use as fossil fuels, it has to be another million years. We're not going to be around to see that. So that's the thing, is we're using these fossil fuels faster than what they can be made. So that's where we're running into the problem of finding resources that are renewable, that we can have, that replenish themselves very quickly. The sun, the wind, water, those kind of things. Not our coal, not petroleum, natural gas, propane. These are all things that are deep down in the earth that were fossils that have turned into our fuels that we mine for. Other ways for us to kind of like look at energy is in your house, especially. If you convert from your incandescent bulbs to fluorescent bulbs, you save a lot of energy, not only a lot of money too. Regular incandescent light bulbs convert only 10% of the energy to light. That is low. That means they're not efficient at all. 90% of the energy is released as wasted heat. Now, it's not lost, it's wasted. It's converted into heat, but our whole goal for a light bulb is to get light. Okay. When someone asks you to turn out the lights to conserve energy, they're asking you to use less electric energy, which uses less fossil fuels. So by just changing out your light bulb into a A 20-watt light bulb, compact fluorescent light bulb, gives you the same amount of light as the 75-watt incandescent light bulb, but uses less energy. And it also doesn't produce the heat. That's why it's more efficient, because of the materials that it's made out of. So there are things that we can do at home to conserve our energy that we use. Not only driving in the car, your light bulbs, just the amount of the waste that you use in the house, things that you buy. The more things you buy, the more things that have to be made, and the things that the process of making those things use energy. So we are a consumer hungry society. We're constantly thinking about buying more and more and more and having to bigger and better. The iPhone 5 just came out, and people are getting the iPhone 5 even though that their old phones are perfectly fine and good. But it's in our nature to want more, to have more things, stuff, and that's really not good for our energy stuff. So we will discuss this more and talk about the conservation of energy and what happens within a system and what maybe we can do to help with this problem. Okay. So you should have finished your fill-in note taker at this point for your 7.2, and that accumulates this section for now.